Hello?
Hello, is this Billy D. Williams?
Yeah.
Hello, this is Dustin Wilmus from KMSU Radio.
Yeah, hi. How are you?
I'm excellent. I'm here with my co-host Ton.
How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
Good. I'm doing great. I'm glad we got you on the line here. Thanks for doing this with us. If you're ready, we'll go ahead and get started. Ask you a few questions.
Okay, great. Go right ahead.
Well, I guess we'll just start with kind of the typical one. How did you get started in acting?
Well, I've been acting. I started acting when I was 6.5 years old on Broadway in a musical, a Kurt Weill musical. But that was my first experience. And later on, when I was in my late teens, when I was studying at the National Academy of Design for the Fine Arts, I was studying painting, where I had gotten a scholarship for a couple of years, 2 years. I started back acting again, and that was a long time ago. That's a little over 50 years, I guess. So, and then I started doing a lot of stage work. I grew up in New York City.
Okay, so you've been at it for a long time. About when did you, I guess, start transitioning into films from the stage acting? Was that around in the 70s?
No. When I was, I did my very first movie in 19 with a great actor by the name of Paul Muni, who was one of America's great actors, in 1958, 59, somewhere around there. A movie called The Last Angry Man. The Brian song, which I got a nomination for, an Emmy nomination for. Lady Sings the Blues, Mahogany, the Bingo Long Traveling All-Stars, the Motor Kings, the movie I did with Sylvester Stallone. What was the movie? I forget. And there were quite a few movies. And then, of course, the Star Wars movies. Not an awful lot of movies.
Yeah, you definitely have. If you just kind of look at the list, you've been at it for a long time. Now, would you say that, I guess that Star Wars, is that usually what people recognize you for, or?
No, they recognize me for the Lady Sings the Blues, Mahogany, Brian's song, the Bingo Long Traveling All Stars and Motor Kings, Colt 45, and the Star Wars movies, and the movie I did with Stallone. My brain is not working. So
Nighthawks, I think it was.
Nighthawks, yes.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
And a couple of other, and a few other movies.
Can you talk to us a bit about, like, when you got Star Wars? Was it just kind of like auditioning for anything else, or was it?
Oh, no, I never auditioned for it. The director came to my house and we sat down and talked, and it was one of those rare situations. Most actors, probably no actor ever goes through, gets a job in the way I got the job. I was asked to play the character. So when I met with the director, he came to my house and we sat down. Irv Kirshner, who was one of the most extraordinary people I've ever known, and we sat and talked, and we talked about a lot of different things about Buddhism, because he was very much involved in Eastern philosophy, and so was I at the time. And that's how we established our relationship, and that's how I got the job.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Did you have any kind of favorite memories or anything, I guess, of doing those films, or?
Well, you mean the Star Wars movies?
Yeah. Do you have any memories that stick out for you, or things you really liked about playing Lando?
Well, certainly one of the key aspects of the character was the cape. The cape really kind of gave me a clue to what I wanted to do with the character. He was a bit of a swashbuckling, roguish, attractive kind of a person, and that's what I wanted to create. And I think I succeeded with that one.
I would say
also,
you did.
But also, the prospect of working with George Lucas was a very exciting thing, because at that time there were all of these wonderful young people who were coming along as directors, and who were coming along like Spielberg, George Lucas, Coppola, Scorsese. They were really sort of changing the whole film genre, and at the time, so it was a very exciting time. So to be a part of that was really very exciting for me. But and then also, seeing all of those wonderful sets that they had, because I shot most of it, all of it, pretty much all of it, with the exceptions in London. So, and then working with the people, they were all wonderful people to work with, and it was just very interesting. The whole thing was very interesting. You know, all that science fiction stuff with all of those props and all of those, you know, the technology was quite intriguing for me.
Yeah, when you guys were making those films, I mean, did you know it was something, or did you feel that it was something really special and would last all these years and still be popular, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I knew it was special, but no one ever quite knows to what degree how special all of these things that you do it becomes. But this certainly is a phenomenon. I mean, we're talking about 33 years since they made the first Star Wars. So, and it's going to go on. It's on. My grandkids are into it already. So one is 5, and well, the 2-year-old. I don't know if she's into it, but the 5-year-old certainly is. So I suspect that it'll probably go on for another 100 years.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. There's also there's sort of like internet rumors of a newer Star Wars happening, you possibly being involved. You know, can you talk to us at all about anything about that?
Well, I have no idea what they plan to do. You know, it's all a mystery to me, like it is for everybody else. So we'll see what happens. And if they decide to ask me, I'd be very happy to participate.
Another thing we want to ask you about, Billy, is your appearance in the Batman movie. What was the story behind that?
Oh, and I forgot about Batman. Of course. Batman, yes.
You were supposed to be coming back as Two-Face, I know, in the sequels. What was the story behind how that worked out?
Well, that was the whole idea of me wanting to play the character and accepting the role. I was hoping that I would end up playing Two-Face, but it didn't quite work out that way. I think what happened was that there was a change of hands. And, you know, that whole Batman situation anyway, it keeps changing all the time. So it didn't work out. You know, you win some and you lose some.
That's definitely another franchise, much like Star Wars, that's kind of, you know, taken off and has been popular for so many years.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, it's an interesting character.
Definitely. And another thing that's interesting, your commercials for Colt 45, we remember those. Some of those got some criticism, I know, but other people really loved them. Well, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, well, I had a lot of fun doing them. They were great. They're really they were wonderful commercials. And they're iconic commercials, actually. I mean, I got young kids who come, when I do these conventions, the young people bring their little Colt 45 bottles to have me sign them. And I'm always surprised that a lot of young people know about it. So it's sort of become a real cult kind of thing. It's wonderful.
Hey, you mentioned appearing at conventions and stuff, and you're going to be at one called Crypticon in Minnesota coming up next weekend. Is this your first time being in Minnesota?
I think this is my second time, I believe.
Okay. Have you been to a lot of these kind of like horror sci-fi conventions this year? Or?
Yeah, Comic-Con, Dragon-Con. I mean, I've been to, they're all over the world. I've been all over the world doing these things, yeah. I really enjoy them. I get a chance to meet all of the people who have given me a lot of support throughout the years. So it's very pleasing.
Now, something else we just kind of wondered about. You had an album that came out early 60s, is that right?
Yeah, in 1961, I did an album called Let's Misbehave with Billy D. Williams. But a song called A Taste of Honey was originally written for me for the stage. I did it on Broadway with Laurence Olivier's wife, Joan Plowright, and Angela Lansbury, and Nigel Davenport, and Andy Ray, back in 1961. And at that time, Prestige label came backstage. They were starting a new series on it's a jazz label, and they asked me if I wanted to do to do an album. I said sure. I was only 23 years old, so I thought what a lark, what a fun thing.
And you never really thought about going back to that, huh?
Well, Well, you know, I did it for a little bit. I did some club work and stuff like that. And even now, I always entertain the idea of doing some romantic, those standard romantic music on a CD. So we'll see what happens. I started working at it, but I haven't really pursued it. But we'll see what happens.
Sure.
Before I drop dead.
And you also just on a side note, you kind of mentioned it early in our conversation here that you were going to school even for the arts. So you paint, is that right?
Yeah, when I grew up in New York City and went to Music and Art High School, and from Music and Art I went to the as I said, the National Academy of Design for the Fine Arts, where I spent 2 years on the scholarship, and I was nominated for a Guggenheim when I was 19 and won a Hallgarten, which is comparable to a Guggenheim. And so painting has been very much a part of my life. I've exhibited. In fact, the Smithsonian owns one of my paintings, and I've exhibited in all over the country. But I haven't done it recently, but I should get back to it at some point.
It's very exciting stuff. Well-rounded man.
And also, I've co-authored books. I co-authored 2 books on psychic spying and 1 romance novel. So I've sort of been playing around with a lot of ideas.
So is there anything else you have coming up? Any projects you're working on now, or?
Not right now. I'm always looking for something interesting to do, but I'm never in a rush anymore. I'm just sort of taking my time. But, every now and again I do something like I did Modern Family, where I played myself, and I was on NCIS, played an interesting character on that. Not too long ago. All of this fairly recent, and then I always like to work with with Seth Green and Seth MacFarlane and all those guys when I do these voiceovers and these things for like Robot Chicken and stuff like that. So
sure.
That's always a lot of fun for me to do.
Well, Billy, again, it's been great having you on, and we're looking forward to seeing you at Crypticon. Is there anything you want to leave us with? Any parting words?
Well, may the Force be with you.
Excellent.
All right. Well, awesome. We'll look forward to seeing you at the Crypticon.
Okay, I'll be looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
And you have a wonderful day.
All right, you too.
You
thank
too.
you.
Bye-bye.
Be safe. Bye.